Uh, I'm happy. I never love our draw, uh, and I probably don't this year either. But I've never. I certainly don't hate it. It's going to be hard regardless. Uh, I look at more when I see the draw rather than looking at opponents as seeing uh, we're one seed. So you work your butt off all year long to get that. We had to earn it. And then I see Fort Worth and Chicago if things go well. So, and those are both what 7.5 hour drives and direct flights in alumni rich areas. I think it was about as good a Sunday afternoon as we could have, but that doesn't really include who we're playing yet either.
I'm just wondering, health wise, how are you guys? And did you? I know it's just a three game weekend, but did you learn anything new about your team this weekend, or did you see anything that you would hope to see?
Well, I thought the thing that I saw, I actually thought, even though TCU and Texas Tech shot decent percentages, I thought that's the best we guarded uh, consistently all year. I did. We made some bad mistakes and we screwed up some coverages, but for the most part, I thought we made the other team feel us, on most possessions. So it had to play against a team that they basically didn't give a lot of cheap stuff. So I thought that was the thing that I probably liked the most because we didn't make shots. Mitch had a good day yesterday. He's day to day. He's day to day. So had a good day today in rehab. He's day to day. Yeah, just sprained knee. Yeah.
Bill, when you look at the scouting, you're one of the four teams that doesn't know immediately who you're going to play. How much of a challenge does that present?
Well, I think it presents a challenge. I'd rather know who we're going to play. Um, it presents more of a challenge from a uh, uh, prep standpoint. So, so we're gonna have a full day tomorrow and a full day Tuesday that we're working on stuff, and we wouldn't even know who we're playing yet. So, the positive, if there is a positive about it, it forces you to look at the second game first. So because for the second game, if you're fortunate enough to win the first one, you only got one day to prep between the games. You can't get much done in between games. So maybe we can get an extra day in, you know, right now and still be prepared, on Thursday. But it'll just be a 1 day prep for the first game, regardless of who wins. And unless after watching tape we see something they do that is something that we haven't seen all year long. And even though we may not know who we're playing, if one of them does something like that, we may work on that stuff on Monday or Tuesday.
I know it's only been a couple of minutes, and you probably haven't even begun to put together the tape. But do you
Oh
have
no.
any familiarity with either of these teams? Any
Uh,
idea of what they do?
I've known Steve for a while, and I've known Johnny forever. So, but as far as watching their teams play, that's something that we got to dive into now.
Coach, these fans, and you know how they do it. They break everything down and they read everything they can about every team in the bracket, and they obsess and they're looking at who you might play in the third round. You've been in it so many years. How do you guys look at it, you and your coaches, when it comes down, and what do you notice?
Well, I think it's human to look at the entire bracket. No question about that. So, but the bottom line is, I'm looking at three teams: the winner of the game Tuesday and San Diego State and Creighton. And then next week we'll go on to another 2 game tournament. That's how I look at it. And if you ever get into the tournament, you're going to be playing somebody good. No matter what. It doesn't happen very often that you play a 16 in the next game, you play a 15 in the next game, you play a 14 in the next game, you play a 13. That's not how it happens. So you're going to play good people. And we've been in tournaments where the 13 and 14 was good enough to knock us off too. So we're going to play good people, and that's just the way it is. It's more about matchups, uh, uh, I think, than anything else. And I'm not even going to get into how we match up the second weekend until we take care of business the first weekend, and that's still a lot of work to do before that occurs.
You've got a lot of guys that were on that 2019-20 team, and last year was so different, obviously, with COVID still being a big part of it in Indy and all that. Have you thought much about what this means for that group?
Really, we haven't really given it a great run in the tournament since 18. In 19, we had a decent team, but we didn't have a team that could beat Auburn that day. That's about as impressive as I've seen anybody play against us in a tournament setting. And then in 20, we may have the best team in the country and can't play in it. And then in 21, we didn't have the best team, but we have David and Jalen both get COVID, and David played on a broken foot. We didn't have a chance to be very good in the tournament. So, I'm just looking forward to our Kansas team being able to have the opportunity to play like the team that we put on the court all season long can play. And a lot of that's just due to health.
Nothing extra with that, with those guys that were a part of that season that got canceled, and not getting a crack at that year.
Well, I think with Jalen and CB and Juan and Oach and David were a part of the team in 18-19 that went to Salt Lake City, but I don't think anybody on our team has experienced what the NCAA tournament can potentially be like. Even if they participated in it, I don't think anybody's experienced what it's like. I said this earlier. The kids that played here last year, that were first-year kids, whether it be Bryce, whether it be Tristan, whether it be whoever, Jethro, Latrell, they didn't get a chance to experience one day what it's like to be a Kansas basketball player. There was no late night. There was no fans in the building. There was not as much energy. And you go to postseason and it's a COVID and we're in a bubble and we don't play well and we get sick. I mean, there was nothing that would be such a deal saying, you know what, playing at Kansas is pretty cool. No, playing at Kansas last year, just blah. Because of everything else that was going on. That's a fact. This year, the newcomers have had a chance to experience it, but in order to experience it, what it's really like to play here, you need to do well in the tournament. And so I'm looking forward and hopeful that happens.
Just two more quick ones up. Silvio's in. Have you given any thought of that?
Not only Silvio, Charlie's in, Silvio in, and Tristan's in.
Yeah.
So that's big bonus right there. I was really, I texted with Silvio after the championship game. He had 17 and 14 in the championship game and wasn't good. He was great. And it's so good to see him end on a high note and have a good taste in his mouth leaving college basketball, as opposed to maybe not having that if he didn't get the opportunity to play this year. So yeah, I'm very happy for Silvio. I'm also happy for Charlie and Tristan too. I'm thinking else. Who else? Latrell obviously got knocked out with Stephen F, but they end up tying for the league. And I don't know if you guys know, Latrell started Stephen F all year long, so he had a good year. And I can't remember who else is left, besides Jethro, obviously.
And then with Tristan, I mean, what are your thoughts about 6 from the Big 12 and Oklahoma not getting in specifically?
You know what? I don't know that Oklahoma was going to get in, but all the things like Richmond beating Davidson today knocked somebody else out. And to me, OU deserved to be in the field. But when you look at it, there were more teams, I think, this year that you could make a case for being in the field that were legitimate bubble teams than maybe some other years. So I feel bad for their team. They did a really nice job, especially since Harkless went down. If Harkless hadn't gone down, they'd be in the tournament.
Hey, Bill, with Mitch day to day, how confident are you in KJ or Zach? Having to play some minutes behind David.
Well, we'll be confident in them. I'm hopeful Mitch is playing the best ball maybe of his career right now, and I know he'll do everything humanly possible to put himself in a position to be out there on Thursday. So, he may be limited up until then or whatnot, but I'm confident in those other kids. But they will get his reps this week, and so we'll see what happens.
Coach, sticking with confidence, I asked Jalen just a little bit about being the #1 seed and then also kind of having that target on your back, going in feeling confident but not feeling arrogant and kind of respecting the other opponent. As you know, anything can happen in March Madness. So how are you as a coach kind of mentally preparing the younger guys who haven't been through that madness to kind of get ready for that mentality of having that target on your back?
That's well put. I have never thought of it arrogance can be a part of confidence, which it obviously can. So I don't think we will be. I think this group, the way that this group does things and the way that we try to do things with them is before first and foremost, you respect the game more than anything else in the situation. So, and that's easier said than done. But I think that we'll do that. And I look at Jalen, and he's a great one to ask that question too, because when he made the decision to come back, he started texting me all the time saying, Coach, what do we need to do? What do I got to do to get the guys? We got to have a great year this year. We need to win. We got to win big. And he was saying that for not only our team, but also for his personal benefit, because winning helps everybody individually. And I think there is an attitude like that with this team. And I think it's been like that all year long, to be quite candid with you.
Bill, you said on the CBS show 2 hours ago that the teams that hit the portal hard should know right about now what they're going to get from their players.
Should have a better idea.
Yeah.
Hopefully have a better idea by now. Yeah.
Remy's probably a different discussion, but do you know where Joe fits?
Yeah.
what his role?
Well, with us, it's, you can read into it different ways. Joe has been a successful portal transfer because he's doing exactly what we thought he would be doing. I didn't anticipate Joe beating CB out or Oach. I didn't anticipate him being Juan or Remy out. So he's given us what we thought he would give us, and playing with more confidence doing it. The X factor for us obviously is Remy, and we saw the other day. I'm not going to say that his game the other day was better than Juan's best games. I'm not going to say that, but I will say this: when we needed to have some offensive production the other day, he delivered, and that's something that I think it bodes well for us potentially moving forward, knowing that sometimes if we get still offensively and Oach and CB are not hitting or something like that happens, where do we go for offense? It's nice to have somebody like Remy that we can actually go to him for offense. So I'm excited about him. And you guys saw also, has he looked that fast in 2 months as he did the other day? I haven't seen it. So to me, that's a bonus right there. He looks healthy to me.
Hey, Bill, what's just a thing or two that you like about your team right now, and a thing or two that worries you or has you concerned?
Well, I think health would probably be a concern right now, just because we're a little nicked up, but we think we can hopefully get that all taken care of. I think we haven't shot the ball consistently well for quite some time. If I'm not mistaken, I don't think we didn't make shots at TCU. We didn't make shots at Baylor. We didn't make shots at TCU. We didn't make shots in the last 2 home games, and we didn't make shots the other day, 5 of 22. So yeah, can we make shots? But on the flip side of that, I think that I felt all along that we had to make shots to play well. And now for the first time, I think that maybe we can make somebody not play well, which is probably just as important as us playing well. So I do like that about us.
What do you think of getting your 9th number 1 seed in 18 years? The 1 year they didn't have the tournament.
Yeah, I didn't know that, but I think this would be 10 in the last 16 years, if I'm not mistaken. If I think it's 9 and 15 and 10 and 16 if we would have played in 20. I listened to Few the other day, and I love Mark. And just so you know, Gary, for Tad Bull reference future, Mark, Few and I were born on the exact same day. So if you didn't know that, I thought I'd throw that little extra anecdote in there. But he was talking about how proud he was of his program for locking up a 1 seed for like the 5th time in 7 years or whatnot, which should be. And then somebody told me this would be our 10th and 16. That's pretty good. It's pretty strong. And although seeds don't matter once you get them, you got to go play. But I'm happy that we can say that, but I'd be much happier, playing well in the tournament than I would actually what the seed we get.
Every game at Kansas, the first game you guys play up in Chicago every year against somebody huge, that's huge. It's huge. Every game on non-conference games are huge to the fans here. But is there something different? Do you coaches feel it? I know the players will feel it when you take the floor for the first time.
Yeah, we'll feel it. Yeah, I gotta be, if I'm being, totally honest, winning the Big 12 tournament felt good, but it didn't feel like it did in 2006 when we won the Big 12 tournament. There's some things here, even though it's big, it's routine. The NCAA tournament to me is never routine. So no matter how good or whatever it is, the NCAA tournament to me still takes it gives you an extra juice that you don't get. But I will say this, late night gives you juice because it's the first thing of the year. First game of the season gives you juice because it's first event of the year. First game of the season gives you juice because it's that, first big home game gives you juice. So there's always something, but all those things are not totally routine, but fairly routine until you get to the NCAA tournament. And this is different.
Billy, it'll be somewhat close, but you're going to play a Texas team in Texas, and knowing how the crowds of these events can sometimes cheer for the underdogs. Does atmosphere, does any of that kind of stuff, even being a 1 seed, come into part of the equation and preparing for that?
I guess it could. I guess it could. I mean, we're dissecting a lot of stuff. We're going to be playing in Fort Worth. I could be wrong, but I would bet we're closer to Fort Worth than Corpus Christi for sure. I don't know about Texas Southern, but I don't think I don't think our crowd nor their crowd will be a huge factor. I think what you're saying is you have all the fans from the other teams cheering for us to get beat, and then what I would say is well, it's our fans' responsibility to get more than half the tickets. They got a role to play, so they can make sure that doesn't happen if they're hungry and get after it. So that'd be what I would say to that.
Is that weird? I mean, you like Fort Worth, you like Chicago, but usually it's what, Tulsa, Wichita, Des Moines, Omaha. It's much closer usually. Is that weird? Does it matter at all?
I think we've been so spoiled here that every time that we played in the NCAA tournament, it's been a drive the first round, and it's still the closest we can do, but sometimes it's good to actually go to a place that fans can look at it kind of as a nice spot to get to, as opposed to Kansas City fans saying, hey, we get a drive to Des Moines or Wichita or Tulsa or Oklahoma City in Omaha. Those are all nice places, but they're probably not places that you would say, I want to go spend the weekend there if you are that close already. This is far enough away where I think it's going to have a little bit different feel and be better for fan bases. And it'll give us a fan base in Dallas and a fan base in Chicago. We're fortunate enough to win to actually come watch us that normally wouldn't get a chance to.
I also wonder, after those last 2 home games, the tension in the building, the grind it out. You guys looked loose and free over there in KC.
We were better. We were better.
Is that it? Okay.
I actually think there was more pressure for us not to screw the league up. We're playing not to screw it up as opposed to playing to go take it. And I think that's somewhat natural. And that is something that NCAA tournament teams will feel, that type of pressure as well. So maybe good for us that we had to play through that already.
Do you anticipate being loose though? This group, these guys specifically?
I do. I do. I think that I think if they can keep drawing confidence, believe in the other team, if they don't play well, they're not going to beat us. Because I felt like for the first time this weekend that we were actually in control when the other team had the ball. And that hasn't happened many times this year. Not all possessions, but I mean, some possessions, we when we were turned up, we were in control when the other team had the ball.
Thanks, Coach.
Okay. All right, guys. Have a good one.
Thanks.